What's up, Packers Nation? Victor here. And I'm telling you right now, this offseason could flip everything we thought we knew about the 2026 Green Bay Packers. Today we're talking about two scenarios, one that could create a nightmare inside the NFC North, and another that could completely reshape our pass rush and free up nearly $20 million in cap space in the process. Let's start at quarterback. We all know the Packers are fully committed to Jordan Love. He's the guy. He got paid. The offense is built around him. But late last season, when Love went down, the backup stepped in and delivered one of the most efficient performances we saw all year. Against the Baltimore Ravens, he completed over 85% of his passes for nearly 300 yards, threw a touchdown, and added 2 more scores on the ground. That wasn't just don't mess it up football. That was dynamic, confident quarterback play. Now here's the problem. He's a free agent. And in a weak quarterback market, teams are circling. The scariest rumor? A potential landing spot with the Minnesota Vikings under quarterback-friendly head coach Kevin O'Connell. Imagine that. A quarterback who learned inside Matt LaFleur's system, who understands Green Bay's terminology, tendencies, and structure, signing with a division rival and facing us twice a year. That's worst-case scenario. Now let's flip to the defensive side, because this one might be even more dramatic. We already made the blockbuster move for Micah Parsons, signaling that the Super Bowl window is open. But what if the front office isn't done? There's serious buzz around the idea of releasing Rashawn Gary, which would save nearly $11 million in 2026, and another $5 million in 2027, and replacing him with a recently cut AFC pass rusher. Not just any pass rusher, a former top 5 draft pick, a player with multiple double-digit sack seasons, someone who just posted 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and 20 quarterback hits last season after bouncing back from a year lost to injury. He's 29, explosive, proven, but with durability questions. And because he was recently released, he could likely be signed to a 1-year deal in the $13 to $14 million range, potentially saving Green Bay $5 to $6 million compared to keeping Gary. So now the real debate begins. Do you stick with the homegrown former first-rounder who's been solid but never elite? Or do you roll the dice on a battle-tested edge rusher who has already shown he can reach that next level, when healthy? This is the kind of decision that separates conservative front offices from aggressive contenders. And when you've already traded 2 first-round picks for Parsons, are you really going to play it safe now? That's what we're diving into today. So, if you're a real Packers fan and you want to help us hit that 2,000 subscriber milestone, smash that like button, subscribe to Packers Nation Report, and let's build the strongest green and gold community on YouTube. Because this offseason, it's not just about tweaks, it's about bold moves. And one of them could change the balance of power in the NFC North. All right, let's talk about the worst-case scenario involving Malik Willis. The Packers have a decision, but not really. Here's the reality. The Packers are fully committed to Jordan Love. He just signed his extension. He's the franchise guy. No debate. That means Willis is likely walking in free agency. And here's the problem. He played well enough in limited action to create a real market. In his late-season start against the Baltimore Ravens, Willis completed over 85% of his passes, threw for nearly 300 yards, had a passing touchdown, and added 2 rushing scores. That wasn't garbage time. That was legit NFL quarterback play. For a guy who was labeled raw coming out of Liberty, that's major growth. And that growth happened under Matt LaFleur. Why teams are interested. Coming out of Liberty, the scouting report on Willis was simple. Elite tools, raw mechanics, needed development. His time with Tennessee didn't unlock that. But in Green Bay, he learned, he sat, he developed inside a QB-friendly system. LaFleur even praised him as a quick learner and easy to game plan around. That kind of endorsement travels around the league, especially in a weak quarterback market. The 2 teams that should worry us. The latest rumors connect Willis to the Miami Dolphins and, brace yourself, the Minnesota Vikings. Let's start with Miami. The Dolphins are dealing with uncertainty around Tua Tagovailoa's long-term durability. They have weapons, they have speed, but they need stability at quarterback. Would Willis choose Miami? Maybe. But the offensive line is shaky. Play calling has been inconsistent. Tyreek Hill's future is uncertain. It's not exactly the cleanest situation. Now let's talk about the nightmare scenario, Minnesota. Why Minnesota is the worst-case scenario. If Willis signs with the Vikings, we play him twice a year. Twice. Under Kevin O'Connell, who is widely viewed as one of the best quarterback developers in football. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that Minnesota is viewed as the destination for available quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, others. If Willis ends up there, it's a twofold problem. He competes with J.J. McCarthy. He brings inside knowledge of Green Bay's system. I'm not saying he knows secret playbooks, but familiarity matters. And let's be honest, O'Connell with a mobile quarterback who just showed 85% completion efficiency in a live game, that's dangerous. Can the Packers stop this? Short answer, no, he's a free agent. Green Bay can't justify paying starting caliber backup money when Love is the guy, and Willis deserves a chance to compete somewhere. The only silver lining? Minnesota has options. They could explore veterans like Kyler Murray. They've shown interest in big names before. Willis may not even be their first choice, but the possibility alone is uncomfortable. My honest take as a Packers fan, I'm proud of how Willis developed here. It shows our coaching staff knows how to grow quarterbacks. But I do not want to see him in purple. If he goes to Miami, fine. If he goes to the AFC, even better. Just not twice a year in the NFC North. At the same time, we can't operate out of fear. If Jordan Love is truly our franchise quarterback, then it shouldn't matter who Minnesota signs. Confidence starts there. Now I want to hear from you, Packers Nation. Would you be worried if Malik Willis signs with the Vikings? Or do you trust Love to handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk it out. Packers Nation, now we're talking about a move that could seriously shake up the Packers pass rush in 2026. But before we dive into this debate, you already know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to Packers Nation Report, and help us hit that huge milestone of 2,000 subscribers. We're building something special here for real Packers fans, and I appreciate every single one of you. All right, let's get into it. Should the Packers cut Rashawn Gary and sign Bradley Chubb? There's a new free agent pitch floating around that suggests the Green Bay Packers should move on from Rashawn Gary and replace him with recently cut edge rusher Bradley Chubb. Yes, that Bradley Chubb. And honestly, this one is complicated. Let's start with the context. The Packers already made a franchise-altering move when they traded 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons. That told us one thing. They believe the Super Bowl window is open. But despite that move, edge rusher remains a discussion point. Gary has been solid. Not bad, not elite, just solid. Over the past several seasons, he's been consistent statistically, but he's never had that true breakout double-digit sack campaign. He's never fully matched his elite athletic traits with elite production. That's been the frustration. The cap situation. Here's where things get interesting. If the Packers cut Gary, they save just under $11 million in 2026 and about $5 million in 2027, roughly $19 to $20 million total flexibility over 2 years. That's real money, and that money could be used to sign Chubb. What would Bradley Chubb cost? Chubb is 29 years old. He missed all of 2024 with injury, but bounced back in 2025 with 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 20 quarterback hits. That's strong production for a comeback year. For comparison, Joey Bosa signed a 1-year, $12 million deal last offseason at age 29 after dealing with injuries. With the cap rising around 9%, Chubb could command roughly $13 to $14 million on a 1-year deal. So let's do the math. Cut Gary, save $11 in 2026. Sign Chubb, pay $13 million. That's only a small net increase for a potentially higher ceiling player. Is Chubb actually an upgrade? Here's the honest breakdown. Chubb has had multiple double-digit sack seasons in his career. Gary has never reached that mark. Gary flashes. Chubb has proven peak production. The concern? Durability. Chubb has missed significant time in 3 of his 8 seasons. Gary, while inconsistent, has been more available recently. So this becomes a risk-reward decision, effort and consistency debate. And let's address the elephant in the room. Some fans feel Gary drifts in and out of games. You see stretches where he's invisible. Then suddenly, a dominant series. With his athletic profile, you expect takeover performances. They just haven't consistently happened. Chubb, when healthy, tends to play with a more relentless motor. That matters, especially in January. The bigger picture. The Packers are in win-now mode. You don't trade for Micah Parsons unless you believe you're close. So the question becomes, do you want steady and familiar, or do you swing for a potentially higher impact pass rusher? Financially, it works. Production-wise, there's a real argument, but health is the gamble. My honest fan take. If this were purely about upside, I'd seriously consider Chubb on a 1-year prove-it deal. Pairing Chubb and Parsons off the edge? That's chaos for opposing quarterbacks. But I'm not rushing to cut Gary unless the medicals on Chubb are clean. Because if Chubb goes down again and Gary is thriving elsewhere, that's painful. This front office has to weigh ceiling versus stability. And in a championship window, sometimes you bet on ceiling. Now I want to hear from you, Packers Nation. Would you cut Rashawn Gary and sign Bradley Chubb? Or stick with the guy we drafted and developed? Drop your takes in the comments. Let's debate it. And if you love deep Packers analysis like this, hit that like button and subscribe so we can smash that 2,000 subscriber goal together. This is Victor, Go Pack Go.